I actually had no plans of filming this video today at all, but if you guys have watched my videos before, you know I'm in the process of like completely overhauling my makeup organization and setup and everything, and so I set up all of these like bins and stuff. Well, I didn't set anything up. Chris set up everything. I am what you call not very good at building things. So while I've been reorganizing my makeup, I've also been like purging things that need to get thrown out, or I have duplicates of, or didn't work for me, and so I just had this nice, neat little pile, and I'm like, well, there's a good video idea. It just all came together like so nicely. I love when that happens. Hello everyone, I'm here today to share with you guys a makeup declutter video, and this particular video, as I mentioned before, came about very organically, and these are all products that I have been in the process of going to get rid of anyway. And all of these products will get donated either to friends and family, or there's a local women's shelter where I actually know the women that run it. Actually, except for 2 products in here, which fell apart on me, and so I wanted to talk about those as well. Now, I do want to say just before I get into the first product that if these are staple products for you, that is awesome. These just weren't products that I was reaching for very often, and I think that they could have a better home where they're used more frequently. So just wanted to say that off the bat. I hope you guys find this video helpful. If you do, give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on new videos for Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And without further ado, let's get into this. So the first product we're going to be talking about is by NYX. This is their Pro Lip Cream palette. This one is their nudes palette, but they also have reds and pinks and stuff. And there was just a big trend of these, like maybe in the last like year or so, and people were coming out with these quite a lot. I just find that I never ever reach for these kinds of palettes. They require having like a lip pencil with you, especially if they're a bright color. It's just too difficult to use with like your fingers, and I just never have one that's clean. And these colors in particular just did not work for my skin tone at all. But just any of these kind of lip palette-y things, they just don't work for me. I don't personally enjoy them, and yeah, so this will be donated. Next up is a product from Essence. This is their Shape Your Face Contouring Palette. This is the Ready Set Pink one, and I just found that the colors themselves are just way too dark for my skin tone. This was way too bright, and this one was too dark of a contour, and it looked very like muddy on my skin, I want to say. So I don't know, maybe if you have a medium or deeper skin tone, these would look better. I have tried one that had lighter tones in it, and I just didn't like the quality of the product. I think there are a lot of really good products from Essence, and they have such a great price point too, but this one just didn't do it for me. Next up is a product that broke, like entirely fell apart on me. I've actually talked about it a lot recently because I don't like the product anyway, but I found this to be hilarious, so I wanted to share it with you guys. This is the e.l.f. Aqua Primer Mist, and I talked about this as feeling a little bit too garden hosey for your face, like just was super strong and not at all the fine mist that they promote it to be. But not only that, no, that wasn't enough, because I had it in a bin of things to put away, and it like entirely fell apart. So here are all the pieces that it came in. So that was great. I get it that e.l.f. is a lower price point and they spend more of their money on creating quality product and less money on packaging. Totally get it. But this, I mean, like, product shouldn't fall apart on you. Between the fact that it fell apart and the nozzle just not spraying the product right, and to be honest, even the product itself wasn't like wowing me, this is going in the garbage. Next up is a highlighter palette that I'm donating, only because I really like the quality of these, but the colors aren't ones that I love. And this is by Zoeva. It is their Winter Strobe Spectrum, and it has all of these really cool shades, and they're really beautiful, but the undertones just weren't ones that I was reaching for very often, and I get it, these are for very specific looks. But I don't know, I found this was the only one that I was using, and it has a very strong pink undertone to it, so even then it was a very specific one, not something that I was reaching for all the time. So I just felt like this could have a better home, someone that could play around with it, experiment with it. I really like the quality of them. I have their summer palette and their spring palettes, and they're gorgeous. More of like coppery or bronzy champagne kind of undertones, so a lot more wearable, at least for myself, for an everyday basis, but this one is going to be donated. Next up is a lip color. This is by Maybelline. It is their Superstay Matte Ink in the shade Loyalist. You guys have heard me talk about these products before. I really like the formula actually, and I think these are really great. I have most of the colors, if not all of them, and I think they're fantastic. They're a really great long wearing lip color. They're a little bit on the sticky side, but they do wear quite well. This color though is just too pale for me. I even tried to use it sort of in the middle of the lip and then kind of smudge it in with a darker color on the outside. I don't know, between the undertones being very nude peachy and just being very light, it looked like I wasn't wearing, like I just had like concealer all over my lips. But I think it's a pretty color that would look good on other people. And I do think that the formula is really great. So just, I don't know, just the color wasn't my favorite. Next up is a product from Wet n Wild. This is their Mega Glow Illuminating Palette in Catwalk Pink. And this thing is gigantic. It's like half the size of my face. It's separated into all these different shades. So I initially tried to just like dip it into the specific colors that I wanted. And then I was like, I wonder what happens if I swirl them all together. And I don't know, it just wasn't giving me the luminosity that I was hoping for. It was a little bit on the dark side, a little bit on the pinky side. It might look good on top of a blush. Like, it's a really pretty color, but not illuminating enough for me. It just wasn't strong enough of a highlight on my skin. I think if you want something that's more natural and is gonna give you like a very subtle, dewy-like effect on top of a blush or something, then this might be really nice. But for me, I like something a little bit stronger. Next up is a lip color. This is from Burt's Bees, and this is their Tinted Lip Oil. This one is actually still in the package. This is being donated to the women's shelter because it's really hard to donate any sort of glosses that have been opened, so I'm excited to give this to someone. But for me, this was like a darker shade. It's Showering Sunset, and if I want a darker shade, I like to go like all the way in with like a super bright or bold lip. And this was very oily and didn't give a lot of pigmentation for me personally. I have a couple of their other shades. More of their natural nude ones are nice, but it's just not something I reach for that often, to be honest, and I think there are better options out there from Burt's Bees. Next up is a palette. This is by Lancome, and this is their color design palette in Taupe Craze. So these are the shades in here in this like tiny little palette. Look how little it is. The shades are fine. It wasn't wowing me or exciting me in any way. Like, this middle shade is nice, but like, look how tiny that is. Like, how can you get a brush in there? These three shades here are really, really glittery, and I just think that it could go to a better home with someone that could make more use out of it. I wasn't super wowed by it. Next up is a brush that I am getting rid of. It is going in the garbage. This is by Morphe. It is their M402 brush, and I've used it in a lot of videos, and at first I was like, this is fine, this is great, it's a good big fluffy brush, and then I started to notice how much it sheds. This one in particular from Morphe is a very sheddy kind of a brush. Get what I'm saying there? I was just finding that every single time I would put powder on my face, it would just shed all over the place, and I'd be picking these like things off because I'm using it for powder, right? So it's immediately going to stick to any foundation that's still wet on my skin, which is super great. I mostly just use my Velour Puff from Sephora for any sort of powder, so I don't really reach for brushes that much anyway, but this one is going in the garbage. Now onto a bronzer. This is by Vita Liberata, and it is a powder self-tanning bronzer. And 1A, I don't know how I feel about having a bronzer that also self-tans, because I don't put bronzer all over my face. So does that mean like half of my, like part of my face gets bronze? I don't know. But also I've never really used a loose bronzer, and so maybe I'm using it wrong. I was just a little worried that it was going to look funny on my skin if it did a good job in self-tanning, which the Vita Liberata products do a pretty good job in self-tanning. I was worried that it would look kind of weird on my face. Most, if not actually all of my bronzers are like a pressed powder, and so this kind of just weirded me out, kind of freaked me out. I didn't like it, wasn't using them that often, so it is being donated. And lastly is a product from e.l.f., and this is their Targeted Natural Glow Stick. And this is, again, it's supposed to be a natural glow, but the color, it is in the shade Champagne Glow, and I found it to be very like gold. It's a very gold undertone to it. It was way too yellow on my skin, and it was buildable. I think that the formula itself was really nice. Totally understand this is supposed to be more of a natural look to the skin, not something super strong in terms of a highlight, so I'm not discrediting it because of that. This was way too gold. It just looked a little funny on my skin, and that is why it is being donated. And that's everything for this video. Give it a thumbs up if you found it helpful. If you want to see more of these types of videos, I still have a ton of decluttering to do, and it's a continual process. It's something I work on fairly consistently, or at least I try to. Like, at least every season I do try and do a deep clean of everything. So if you want to see more of these, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And that's everything. I hope you guys are having an amazing, amazing week so far, and I'll see you guys all in my next video. Love you, girls. Mwah.